When I was around the age of 8, I felt like I was a celebrity walking on the streets of Nanjing with my mom and sisters. Adults, children, and elders would stare at me and sometimes whisper behind me. Those moments made me feel happy and excited. However, I soon realized they were looking at me because of my disability. I have cerebral palsy because I was born prematurely. Growing up, my self-identity was vague, and I felt inferior because of my disability. Other people I knew were not disabled, so I could not share my loneliness. It seemed like people sympathized with me and comforted me. However, they still could not understand my loneliness in my perspective because they were not disabled. I remember back in middle school, I would be excluded from the soccer game if another person wanted to play the position of the goalie. I had always felt this sense of isolation because of my disability. People in the society had stereotypical views of me. They would whisper behind me, thinking that I would not hear it. They would look at me like I was a monster that intruded their territory. Little children would point at me, asking their parents, "Mom, why is he walking like that?" My relatives would also say things like, "Oh, Mike, your walking stance has improved from last time we met." Society will use benevolence to make me feel good. However, what they don't know is that those intended compliments are actually pities to a disabled person. I became less expressive in front of people and started to think less of myself because of those comments. While talking with my sister about my perspective on my disability, she told me I should take the ownership of my life. She was right. Life will not accommodate me. The world, society, no one but I can take the ownership of my condition. No one but I can live happily and confidently despite my disability. In grade 11, I vowed to change some parts of my life. I wanted to finally walk in school alone, carrying my own backpack, even if it was painful and heavy at first. I wanted to take off the boots that I wore to straighten my feet and change my socks instead of letting another person do it for me. I carried my own lunchbox to school in grade 12 so that I can also squeeze through the crowd and pick what I want to eat. By making those improvements in my life, I became more confident about myself and my disability. I felt like I was not a disabled kid anymore. I also became more open-minded and didn't care much about other people's opinions, as I knew I needed to live a life based on my own values and not the values of other people. In grade 10, I chose to study biology as one of the science courses at school. I instantly fell in love with the unit of evolution, and I was fascinated by the theory of natural selection and how different organisms evolved. Therefore, in the 2 years of IB diploma, I decided to study both biology and psychology at higher level to explore more into my interest in science. I found my aspiration in doing scientific research in the future and used my power to contribute to the human society. My passion in science and finding a career goal pushed me to become more focused and acted as a catalyst, motivating me to be the best version of myself. I learned to take on new challenges, which also made me grow more independent. I'm sharing my self-reflection on stage today because I want to confront my disability. And I think I have done exactly that. However, there's a bigger message that I want to convey. My growth and life experience as a person with cerebral palsy taught me that we should always trust in what we can achieve in life. My change of attitude about my disability made me realize that sometimes living a more optimistic life may lead to a greater change of ourselves. Therefore, I think we should always trust in our own capabilities and believe what we can achieve in life. Thank you.